everyone! Welcome to our channel. Today I would like to share a little bit about myself. I have a big news to share with you all. Namely, I recently submitted my PhD thesis! Woo! So it was such a huge and great milestone in my PhD journey, and right now I'm waiting for my viva or defense. Hopefully it can take place next February. So a lot of exciting stuff. So today's video, I would like to share with you about my final push during my PhD journey. What does it look like? That is like, what did I do during my final push, and how did I feel about it? And also, what did I do after my submission? If I may, 3 words to describe my final push experience. What should I say? Tired, perhaps. Yeah, it's a really exhausting experience, I would say. And because basically, like, I did my revision like for the whole document, 100,000 words in a week and a half, which I wouldn't recommend other people do that. So if you can take your pace and be slow and just do everything slowly and in a very rhythmatic way, and I will highly recommend that. But at any rate, I made it. It was very exhausting, but I also find it very fulfilling once I push the button of submission. So let's see. What did I do before I submit? So basically, I wrote a large chunk of my dissertation last year, and also over the summer, like I really wrote sort of frantically, because I was blessed with a job that starts next year, and in a way I really need to finish my PhD before I transition to my post. So I worked hard and just got all the pieces together, and before my wedding, that was late September this year, like 1 week-ish before my wedding, I submitted my full draft to my supervisor. And then she took some time to read through the whole thing, because it's a very long document. People need time to go through it. So we scheduled a very long supervision meeting in early October. So she's sort of like, okay, now you had your wedding, you need some time to do your honeymoon and rest a little bit, so let's just reconvene in early October. And that meeting, the so-called marathon supervision meeting, as you can imagine, it's a super long supervision meeting that lasted like 2 hours or so. So what we did in the meeting was just to go through almost every page of my document and talk about, okay, here are the things that you might need to pay attention to, and you want to clarify certain arguments that you're making here or whatnot. So after the discussion, basically, the discussion just boils down to 2 major points that I needed to do for my revision. One is meta structure or meta argument of my thesis. My supervisor really hopes that I can have very clear thesis and trying to make it very lucid and very easy for the examiners to grasp, and to really strengthen the connections between different chapters. So another point she raised was basically I need to add more signposting in my writing. Guys, you can imagine, right? So when you're writing a DPhil, when you're writing a super long thesis, and your thoughts just can go to a lot of different places. So somehow, like, how to put these different beautiful points together, it's really an art. It's a skill that I need to constantly train myself, and I'm just very blessed to have a supervisor who really stresses on that. So she used a metaphor to describe my writing, and I found this quite interesting. She said, like, you have a lot of beautiful toys, but they're buried in the sand. So you need to make these toys presentable and very easy to spot for your examiners. So during my revision, I really work hard to achieve that point. All right, so after the marathon supervision meeting, And I quickly just went into this full-scale revision, and I stopped attending any seminars or lectures or doing reading groups or whatnot. I just focused on my revision, and I sat down in front of my computer, and also I printed out my whole thesis basically, and it was really like line by line. I checked all the grammars and typos and corrected a lot of things during this revision process as I read through the document, both on paper and also on my screen. Definitely caught a lot of typos, and also I clear out all my footnotes. In the meantime, I also organized my bibliography. I really place bibliography at the end of my writing because I feel like a lot of resources you're just like choosing, selecting, and deleting, so it's a little bit hard to do bibliography in the early days. So bibliography, I would say, like took me a lot of time to check like everything is correct in a way. And also I did a lot of signposting, really highlighting what I tried to present, what's the main or central argument for this paragraph, and how these different parts connect to each other. So in light of this intensity, what are some things I did also just to ease my mind a little bit? So I think like it was good that I just kept going to the gym twice every week as usual with my husband. I think it was just very good to exercise a little bit to refresh my mind. And I also, I cooked. This is something I always enjoy doing. Alongside that, I still went to church and also had regular worship life and small group life, which I find very rejuvenating. So after that hectic 2.5 weeks, once I pushed the submitting button, it was just amazing. I feel like once my thesis was up there in Oxford's library system, and I just feel like, ooh, it's such a relief, and now I can finally rest and do something. And after my submission, what I did was grateful for my husband. He took me to a trip to Edinburgh, and we spent a couple of days in Scotland. And if you're interested in the beautiful scenes or what we did in Scotland, and also some wonderful, rich historical sites alongside amazing food in Scotland, so we are making our vlog of Scotland. It's coming up soon, so please stay attuned. Please stay attuned. Thank you very much.